If we are to select and prepare the new generation of teacher equipped with the knowledge, skills, and values to help their culturally different and socially advantaged students to learn, to resolve conflicts peacefully, to respect each other's dignity and cultures, and to become socially responsible citizens, significant changes are needed, according to Dallas Report UNESCO 1996. Good day everyone, I am Charles Ansi Cabanya, your discussant for today's discussion. Let's first discuss our learning outcomes. So first is to identify the different changes occurring in the global teaching learning landscape. Second is to identify the 21st century life and career skills for learners and teachers. And for the third outcome is to demonstrate understanding of the UNESCO's 4 pillars of learning as this apply for the 21st century. Lesson 3 is about the changing global landscape in the teaching and learning brought about by factors such as the learning environment, content, and processes of learning, types of learners, and other parameters of learning in the 21st century. Further, Lesson 3 will present how these changes will be addressed by the principles underpinning the UNESCO's pillars of learning: the learning to know, learning to do, learning to be, and learning to live together from Delors Report on Learning, The Treasure from Within, UNESCO 1992. So the changing global landscape in the 21st century skills for teacher. We are in an era of borderless or flat world. Barriers have been broken by new information and communication technologies. Globalization has opened doors that led nations to coexist and be interdependent. However, the common future will still be more dependent on the knowledge, skills, and values of its people, thus globalization can be a response. As a future teacher of the 21st century, there is an urgent need to understand the new landscape that is brought about by the changes in leaps and bounds of the century. Furthermore, the development of the 21st century skills is a necessary tool for teachers. Without this 21st century tool, no teacher can survive. Though 2006, as mentioned in the Southeast Asian Ministers of Education Organization, Educ 2011, identified some key categories of the different changes and developments in the 21st century teaching and learning. To understand the categories, we will attempt to describe the new learning environment, identify the new learning contents, explain the new processes of learning and how this will be facilitated, describe the new type of learners, and describe the new type of teachers. The new learning environment. So the idea of learning environment has broadened from the confines of the 4 walls of the classroom to replace and spaces that support learning. It is a place where interaction of the learners among one another with the teacher and the surroundings happen. It is characterized by the following: learner-centered. When we say learner-centered, it means that the learner or student is responsible for learning while the tutor is responsible for facilitating the learner. The new spaces and borderless. In borderless education, the student is the center of education, getting the exposure of individualized programs, self-learning, self-actualizing process, methods, and self-rewarding through multiple sources of learning, networked learning, unlimited opportunities, lifelong and everywhere. The role of the teachers has to be changed from direct controller to coach, partner, guide, and counselor. enhance opportunity for creativity and innovation. When we say creativity, it is the act of turning new and imaginative ideas into reality. And when we say innovation, it is the process of turning a new concept into commercial success or widespread use. So, and last is the use of ICT. So ICT in education improves engagement and knowledge retention. When ICT is integrated into lessons, students become more engaged in their work. This is because technologies provides different opportunities to make it more fun and enjoyable in terms of teaching the same things in different ways. The new learning contents. With the new learning environment and the explosion of knowledge, content or subject matter of learning has been modified. From a specific discipline or subject area, subject matter of learning has the following characteristics. The integrated or interdisciplinary. When we say integrated or interdisciplinary, it is the combining different things, people, or ideas. Um, Basically, it means that when you choose an academic program that is defined or partially defined as interdisciplinary, you'll be learning from two or more areas of study. So, demand or driven. Um, Programs focus more strongly than ever on ensuring graduates are job ready and have access to rewarding careers over the course of their lifetimes. So demand driven education adapts to the needs of the learner and the employer. The third one is the emphasis on learning tools on how to retrieve knowledge, and last is the balance of scientific, technological, cultural, global and local concepts.
Good day, everyone. I am Juliet Kabuga, and I will be discussing the new processes of learning and how this will be facilitated. With the advancement in the study of the mind and cognition, various processes of learning evolved with the human intervention of teachers and peers as well as non-human intervention of artificial intelligence. With this advancement, different processes of learning and the methods to facilitate this have evolved. The new processes of learning include face to face, distance learning, blended modalities, and experiential and lifelong. In face to face, this is very traditional. This is what happened during the pandemic. The teachers in the classroom, the students are in the classroom. Teaching learning process is done in the four walls of the classroom. That's face to face, confined in the same learning space at the same time. New processes of learning include the face to face, the distance learning, blended modalities, experiential, and lifelong. In the face to face, this is very traditional. This is what happened during the pandemic. The teacher in the classroom, the students in the classroom. During teaching learning process is done in the four walls of the classroom, that face to face, confined in the same learning space at the same time. But we also have the distance learning. So when teaching and learning is mediated by the traditional, so it could be face to face or it could be traditional, meaning the modules that you have given to you, like the teachers would be preparing a module, the module will be given to you and you'll be studying the module whatever you want to study, or you could actually have modern technology that like what we have right now. You are learning by just merely watching the videos in the internet. Or we will be having a real-time online class in here, or at home you are in your own houses. We are using internet and technology for our learning. So it could be without the physical presence of the teacher through module or through online teaching. And we have the blended modalities. That's why it is blended, because this is the combination of the face-to-face and distance learning. There are times you have to go to school to meet your teacher and to be with your classmates trying to study in a certain content, but there are times as well as that you have to go to distance learning, meaning the modules given to you through your CLMS, and you have to study at your own space whether you want it. And the same time, you could also have scheduled online classes or real time to be decided upon by the teacher. We also have experiential and lifelong learning. At the moment when you immerse learners to the real time situation, like you are into the political science students and you have to immerse them into a real court, you have to let them watch real hearing. If you are studying pollution of that matter, when you have to immerse them in a certain environment where pollution is, and vice versa. It's about immersing as students to a real life situation that is experiential and lifelong learner. And now we have also some of the new types of learners. Before, our learners are passive. They would only listen the lesson and follow what the teachers would want them to do without raising questions and without arguing with the teachers. But now, students are different. They think confidently, they are critical, and they are communicate effectively. That's why there are some students who would be challenging the ideas of the teachers. There are already some students who are very expressive. I mean, he would tell all the teachers everything that he would want to tell. And there are students who would like to keep on raising questions, or even some students rather who disagree to the teachers. They are more confident and more critical. They are more they are no longer passive receptacles of information. They are active agents of learning. We have also the self-directed. They often questions. They would also reflect. They take responsibility of their actions. They're also concerned citizen. They are very much familiar with the global scenarios and concerns with the legal affairs, local affairs at the same time. They are members of the new generation with pop culture for the matter, and because of the things that they watch on the internet or even TV. Then they tend to think differently and respond differently. They also tend to act differently depending on the kind of what they watch in the internet. Sometimes they are wanted to keep up. They tend to dress and talk as K-pop artists at the same time. What they see in the internet, and they are also multicultural. It is no longer an issue for the students to have a certain culture. They accept various cultures and then even adopt various cultures. They are even proud of the cultures that they have. You are a multicultural. And we also have the life and career skills, which is the flexibility and adaptability, initiative and self-direction, social and cross-cultural skills, productivity and accountability, leadership and responsibility. And flexible and adaptability, the learners adapt to various rules, responsibilities, and schedules. Despite the complex condition, They're able to do the different tasks at own time. Recognition of this potential will give a signal to the teacher to provide all the learners the opportunities to develop their individual potential of being adaptable and flexible. Second, initiative and self-direction. A self-directed learning demonstrates life and career skills. Goals are set and managed by themselves. This there is a commitment of learning as a lifelong process. Many of the young learners are capable of doing things without being told. They take initiatives. They do not need to be given detailed instruction. They plan and work out their plans. Like the learners, the teacher should also possess the same skills. And third, we also have the social and cross-cultural skills. These life and career skills, learners to respect cultural differences and work effectively with others. To be open-minded to different ideas in order to innovate and improve quality of the work. If one understands the other's culture, it will be easy to respect. This respect may spring from ignorance and bias. To be able to appreciate the mores, tradition, history of others, one needs to be open and willing to accommodate and compromise. And we also have productivity and accountability. Individuals who possess these skills are able to produce results. They respect teamwork and cooperation. They manage time very well and can do multitask. The most tangible proof that one has done something is the product of results. It can be an idea or a material product. When one is tasked to do something, that person has an accountability to produce results as evidence of jobs done. Better results are accomplished if done together through collaboration and cooperation. And the last is the leadership and responsibility. Good leaders use interpersonal and problem solving skills with integrity and ethical behaviors to influence and guide others. Leadership and responsibility are life skills that should be developed by all learners and teachers. Leadership is not assigned, it is earned. As the saying goes, leaders are born, but they can also be made. We also have the new types of teachers. If you have this new set of environment and students and curriculum, then we have to make sure that teachers also respond to these new types of everything. First, the teacher should have clear standards and accountability to their learners should know and be able to do at the end of their schooling. They have used broad pedagogies. They are no longer into traditional ways of teaching. They are into cooperative teaching. They are inquiry-based learning. They tend to maximize the potential of every learner by means of craft team activities that would allow these learners to work with one another and to be inquisitive, to have inquiry-based learning. And the teacher must be skillful in the integration of the ICT. All teachers now should know how to manipulate technology. They manipulate a laptop. They know how to conduct online classes. When they don't know, I think it is just the responsibility to the teachers to equip him or herself with the necessity of the ICT. And the teacher also should be skillful in the use of assessment to guide teaching and learning. They also have an understanding to the local and global culture. So we have the term localization, knowing that the global context of everything and trying to contextualize that into local practices. This also come in the indigenization, trying to emphasize the practices of a certain indigenous group and trying to connect to the practices and tradition to the locality until a global culture. And they also have to be very skillful as regard research and classroom problems, and they will be able to have their own solutions to these classroom problems based on research and diagnosis. And teacher also should practice the core values and inspiring teachers. And last, the teacher should they also have to develop life skills or the 21st century skills that they have.
Hello everyone, I'm Alyssa Ruz, and today I'll discuss about UNESCO's 4 pillars of learning from Delors report. So when Delors wrote a report for the UNESCO, it was because he believed that within each child lies a treasure. The first pillar of learning is learning to do. This implies thirst for knowledge and acquisition of such knowledge. More so, it is learning how to learn throughout one's life. After completing education, there should be a great desire to gain more understanding of the world. So people have to learn to understand the world around them by combining a sufficiently broad general knowledge with the opportunity to work in depth on a small number of subjects. An individual who is knowledgeable is literate. Being literate is always related to being knowledgeable. Thus, the word literacy evolved through time. Here are some definitions made by the UNESCO. In 1958, as UNESCO defined literacy as one who can, with understanding, both read and write a short, simple statement on his or her everyday life. However, in 1970, a functionally literate person is one who can engage in the activities to use reading and writing calculations for their community's development. Further on, in 2000, literacy was defined as the ability to read and write with the understanding of simple statements related to one's daily life. It involves a continuum practice of reading and writing skills, which often include numeracy. However, the UNESCO International Expert Meeting in 2003 redefined literacy as the ability to identify, understand, interpret, create, communicate, and compute using printed and written materials associated with varying contexts. But with the changing global landscape, the literacy in 21st century is not limited to the definitions given previously. Let us look at the 21st century literacies. First is arts and creativity. Creativity and innovation are 21st century skills. Thus, in solving problems and creating artworks are part of this literacy. Second is eco-literacy. Acquisition of knowledge about climate change, pollution, loss of natural habitats, and biodiversity. So solutions about these environmental problems must be addressed and could be practiced. Cyber literacy or digital literacy. It is being in the rapid changes in the use of technology for teaching and learning. So teachers and learners must develop and enhance the use of digital gadgets, whether offline or online. Next is financial literacy. having basic knowledge about the basics of economics and financial management. This is necessary for every teachers and learners to be able to handle income, investments, and expenses, to be economically secure. Media literacy. Teachers and learners must learn how to discern about any information which are transmitted via various forms and media. Next is social and emotional literacy. Knowledge about social dimensions and social skills that are appropriate in the context of society. Emotional intelligence must also be developed to be able to effectively manage the stresses due to changing environments of the 21st century. Last is globalization and multicultural literacy. If you respect multicultural diversity, aware of the global trends, acknowledge differences and similarities, respect each other's dignity, then you are a multicultural literate. The second pillar of learning is learning to do. It describes putting knowledge and learning into practice innovatively. To apply knowledge, one must have the 21st century skills, because qualifications now is equated to skills and not to knowledge alone. Next is learning to be. This is one of the most difficult things to do among the pillars of learnings. This implies developing the potentials of each individual. The last pillar of learnings is learning to live together. This refers to the relationships among people. It is bringing in together a community to work harmoniously, to live in peace and prosperity, and to show respect and concern for others. This also refers to interpersonal skills that will enable people to live side by side with others at home, in school, in the community, in the whole world. All the pillars are interrelated with each other. One pillar will not function if it stands alone, and there is a need to connect in order to address the 21st century demands for teaching and learning.